are on our third speaker of the night, and she is so fun and so fabulous. And I know that this was a little bit of a, finagling trying to fit this in. So thank you for being here, Diana. So glad you're here today. So thank you. Let me read a little bit about what Diana is all about and who she is. Fantastic. So Diana Cockle is going to do a talk for us on life. We are never too old to attempt something new. So here's a little bit about Diana. With a newfound love for flowers, Diana Cockle became a master florist just this year, 2023. But her journey is a tapestry of diverse careers. Beginning in North Dakota with a cosmetology degree, she ventured into computers, taking on roles like design administrative assistant and inventory control specialist. She worked in banking and explored her culinary side as a pastry chef. She was a Pampered chef consultant and did many other careers. I am certain your resume looks very much like mine, Diana. Compliance, policies, and procedures were her terrain before partnering with her husband in their logistic freight business. She currently resides in Maricopa, Arizona, United States, with her husband and two dogs, Scooter and Stallone, alternating between arranging flowers, experimenting in the kitchen, capturing nature's beauty, and spoiling her furry friends. Please help me welcome Diana. Yay.
Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing? It's gonna be hard to go through and follow those two. Oh my gosh, they're magnificent, absolutely magnificent. So let's go through and just kind of dive in. I've actually been in a Tony Robbins seminar all day, so I've got like everything Tony Robbins in my head. But what's interesting is some of the things that they took us through today. And I've really been thinking about the last few days, really reflecting back on how this career has started. And I had a conversation with one of my cousins a while back, and we were talking about all these things that are coming up. And her thing to me was, and I was just shocked because it really makes you stop and think, if I hadn't moved around like I have in my life, would I have been able to experience these things and these people and these places? If I would have been stuck in Wyoming and just kind of going through life, I wouldn't. And that is, I look at when I left there at 18, I took a leap of faith. My parents were very upset that I left because I still had a year of high school. I went to North Dakota, and for the first time ever in my life, I was on the honor roll. And it was interesting because my folks didn't push us. It was more of a, you'll be okay. You'll get through. And I think it was during that time that things started shifting and changing for me. So, you go through the emotions of life and you live, life as you're going through and just kind of doing things. And you end up doing things maybe that you're proud of, maybe that you're not. But I look back on those things that failed, how much growth it taught me. Being ashamed of doing something, huge lesson, and a big proponent of life of there's good consequences and the bad consequences in everything. And you've got to really go with the flow in regards to that. One of the things that I really wanted to impress upon also too is there was another course that I went through and had taken, and I'm all about personal development. I'm all about learning new things. The book club, I'll get to that in just a second. I want to go through and make sure and touch on that. But in regards to the learning new things, I think someone invested me early in my career. It was when I was a design administration. They sent me to, I think it was Franklin Covey seminar. That was my first one. It was based on women. And wow, my world opened up. It's like, this is seriously here for me to learn about. And I wanted more. And they offered us 4 to 6 a year. of different things we could go through and do. We got these courses, we got to pick out things, and I started seeing huge growth in myself, not only business wise, but personally. And so much personally that I actually divorced my first husband. It's like things just were not where I wanted to go. I was going in a different direction. He wanted to stay in a different direction. It's like, no, I need to move on. And that was the hardest decision I had ever made. Um, and there's all that self doubt going in your head. Can I do it? Um, who's going to go through and resent me for this and whatnot. And I was interesting. I feel that divorce and death are very much the same way. You find out who your true friends are and who are those that are wanting to come in and sabotage you. Um, so I look at that. I look at things now, you're never too old to learn anything. I look at what I've gone through and did in these last 2 years. I was introduced to flowers. Had no clue in regards to if I'd be good at it. No idea. And I did. And my brother brought up, he's like, well, that doesn't surprise me because of who our parents were. And I was like, what do you mean who our parents were? And it's like, duh, my dad farmed for like 10, 15 years. It's like green thumb. Never even thought about that. My mom grew roses. She grew the most beautiful roses and irises and lilacs. So I think all of that was there. And I just didn't realize that. I had no idea. So you look at all these things in your life. Where did it touch base? Are you recognizing and encouraging yourself in the things that you're experiencing? I have to go through because Cheryl's here. I can see her right in front of me. Every time I see her, and I love her so much, all I think about is squirrels, 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 because they're so fun and happy. But that brings me into nature also too. Of you know, um, with floral, I can be inside creating, but I can also be outside creating. I can go anywhere in the world and create. We went to an Airbnb, my husband and I did in June, and I went through and went out in their yard and picked up all these little things and found a little bowl and left them a little design of their little garden inside, and they were blown away. It's like, that's out there. We didn't know you could do this. It's like you can do anything, anything that you put your heart and passion and desire to. Some things I kind of think about now as life evolves, as things come about. And it's kind of a different direction. And this really hit me like a ton of bricks when I went through and I learned this. And this was through Matthew McConaughey's course that I took called Road Trip. Um, I know there's a lot of people that have asked about that course, and it's a great course. The book, I would recommend not getting that if you are, oh, how do I want to say, if you get offended easily. The first paragraph, you'll not make it through it. It's pretty brutal. But he is so brass on his teachings. And he had us actually go through and do in one session, write our obituary. And you want to talk about impactful on your life. You sit and you put pen to paper and you write your obituary. I actually went through and I put mine in Canva and I have it all fancy because it was that much of an impact for me to really go back and look on your life. What have you done? What have you not done because you've been scared? Some of the things that I learned today, it's like, just show up and do it. Do it messy. If that opportunity is there, do it. Don't be scared of failure. Just do it. Who cares if someone's watching? Dance like no one's watching. Live life to its fullest. But another thing I think about also too is, and I think about friends. I see all these friends on my Facebook page, and I see some that are, maybe they don't post a lot. Maybe they're living their lives as they are. But I also see friends that have lived in the same place for years and years that have not taken advantage of things. And to me, in my opinion, that's just going through the emotions. It's not really living life. And that's why I live my life like I do. But think about when we get to the end of our time here, and whoever your higher power is that you believe in, and you're sitting next to them and they show you a video of how you lived your life up to where you're at right there. Yeah, you're going to be happy about it. Yes, I could have did things maybe a little bit different. But then you get shown a video of what you could have done with the opportunities that you missed in life. How would you feel? And to me, that is so impactful. Don't miss out on it. I'm not saying to dive in and go bankrupt or do something, bizarre like that. Or maybe you do, maybe you up and move and go to a different country, if you will. I've seen several friends go through and do that, and they've never been happier. But I've also seen so many people right now in my life that are struggling either with divorce or cancer or some sort of health issue. And I look back on mine and I took control of that years ago. Dr. Yolanda Rodriguez is a huge part of that for me. I've been with her, I think, for about 5 years. And still to this day, we work on things that work and don't work. We do all of that. And I think it's so important in our lives to really take in and hone in on that. What are you doing that's working and not? But the biggest piece for me is, who are you surrounding yourself with? Who are the people that you're influenced by? Who are you spending time and energy with? And I think most importantly, self-care. That's the biggest one for me. I cannot stop not talking about self-care. If you are not taking care of yourself, you're not growing, you're not healing, and you can't be better for anyone else in your life. I think I've told you guys many a time of, when I was in business, I wasn't growing and I needed to find a different table to sit at. And I found you all. And that was huge for me. And I'm that type of person. Do I like to go out? I'm that social butterfly. Get me in a room full of people, and like a lot of others are introverts. No, I'm right there. I want to go through and talk to anybody and everybody. And if I like you, I'll show you my dogs. I'll show you pictures of my dogs. I'm that person. But I'm also that person too, that you can get me in an elevator and I can chibber 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 and figure out what you're doing and what's going on with me, swap cards, whatever, and keep in touch. For me, that is evolving in life. And that comes and stems from my mother's upbringing. She was a nurse for 25 years in the same hospital. And she had a lot of different experiences. She showed a real book on on some of those things. I mean, obviously, we lived in a small town, so she couldn't say a lot of things, but it was quite interesting. She said full moon was the biggest thing. It's like things would go crazy. But she's my biggest influence in regards to how I live my life. She died of cancer when she was 52. I'm 55. And so when that happened, I've now outlived what she's been here on this earth. I take advantage of every single opportunity now for me, because I don't know if tomorrow's ever promised. We don't know. You live your life each and every day to its fullest. You have to. If you don't, I look at it as you're dying. You're not going to move forward. You're not going to go through and have your heart full. It's crazy to think about, think about your life. Who do you know? Who are your friends and family? And I think a lot of times too, you have to be very careful and put boundaries in place as well too. I learned that early on in life. I think in high school, I would say I was the one that everybody came to and told me all their problems and stuff, and I took it all in, and I lost myself in there. And how I found myself, I really don't know. Um, I don't think there was ever like an aha moment. Um, I had a lot of my life was like, I figure it like a roller coaster. A lot of times, you're just going along, chug, 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 going, and then all of a sudden you get in there and you whipped along. It's like, okay, am I going to get thrown from this, or am I going to hang on? And a lot of times that's the way it feels. Um, but have always been a lover of animals. So I have to impress on my little corgi. I've had him for 14 years. Never had any issues until a few months ago. And so I'm now in this new fur mom role of learning how to care for him, as he's got slip discs. So he has to have therapy during the day. He has to have a little wheelchair to get around as well too. But I'm also working with an amazing vet and an amazing chiropractor. And I'm looking at this experience and looking at what we're going through now. And I'm actually thinking about putting pen to paper and writing a book in regards to the longevity of an animal, how you go through and care for them. How do you get that? So I think a lot of people don't. They just, he's part of the family or she's part of the family, and you kind of just do your thing. Um, but life experiences, I mean, that's the biggest thing. Um, and I think too, another thing I learned today too is like, if you have a gap in your life, how do you fill that gap? what are you doing to fix that? Do you want to solve it? You know, I think someone had said too, like in the book club, I love the book club because years and years ago, I've always wanted to read more. And my goal this year was to read at least one book a month. And I think right now I'm up to 26, which is insane. I've not did that in years since high school. And I love it. But someone impressed upon me also too to make sure that when you are reading a book, that you're reading a book that you're learning from, not just to go through the fluff and go through the emotions. And I'm one that starts my day every morning with a book in my hand, and I end my day with a book in my hand. So I'm always learning something as far as knowledge. I miss journaling. I picked up journaling again. I highly recommend that to everybody as well too, because for me, that is almost like meditation. And what I'm also learning recently in my journaling is that I'm able to see patterns of my life that I need to work on. And that to me is a huge, huge influence. So I challenge people to pick up that book, do that journaling, make that phone call with someone, and give a little self love and give a little love to yourself back. That's me.
Woo, 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 woo. Yay. Oh my gosh. I cannot even begin to tell you how much journaling is like my thing.
Mm-hmm. I get involved with stickers and everything too. I go all out. Color pens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same. I will spend more time and money in an office supply store than anywhere else on earth because of that. So fun. Thank you. That was awesome. Some takeaways that I had, and y'all feel free to, add to any of my takeaways, was growth, having that natural progression of where we have come from, things that we pick up that we didn't even know that we picked up until it's showing up later in our lives. And you're like, wait a minute, I did this in third grade and I was good at it in third grade. Mm-hmm. Wow, this is really cool. Knowing what led you to this, knowing what road has been taken in order to get to where you are now, writing your obituary. So let me tell you something. If you are ever in a depressed state or in a woe is me, everything sucks, my life is terrible, writing an obituary is a fantastic exercise.
Absolutely.
Because it really takes you out of that. It really takes you out of the woe is me syndrome and puts you right into that space of empowering yourself around and giving yourself credit where credit is due for all of the accomplishments, for all of the people's lives that you've touched, etc. Anyway, this is
and you want to take it just a little bit step further in that obituary. When you write it, find someone who you're going to appoint to read it.
Yes.
That was the kicker for me. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's scary to think about.
It is. It's terrifying to think about. And that has gotten me through some dark times. So I know it is powerful exercise. I love that you said, here's what you have done and here's what you could have done. Ooh. Well then. Yeah. Got to say yes to yourself sometimes, even when you want to say no.
Absolutely.
And then, the self-care, give and ye shall receive. I mean, there are very clear instructions in this and in the Bible, right? Yeah, time totally is running very fast, but hang tight because we have one more amazing speaker. So thank you, Diana. That was fantastic.